Celestial navigation, putting it all together! We've been jumping around topics a bit, so I thought it might be best to put together a bit of a summary of what we have learned so far. What we still have to cover and how it is all eventually going to come together. It has certainly been useful for me to break everything down into bite-sized pieces, and for those who are still following along, or are planning on doing some celestial navigation study in the future, hopefully this post might be a good summary of how it all works. Step 1. Introduction. First of all, it helps to get an idea of the general concept of celestial navigation and the terminology used. There are far more complicated mathematical explanations of how it all works, but my post is a simplified version that hopefully will make sense to you. Step 2. Equipment required. There are a few bits and pieces required for celestial navigation. Having a sextant is a good start, but you will also need some sheets to work it all out and some tables with all the calculations done for you. This video has got a list of all the things you need. Step 3. Where are we? We have to have a reasonable idea of where we are to start off with. The fix we get is merely confirming our position. We do this by dead reckoning, which is taking the course and speed we are sailing through the water, and then plotting that onto the chart to give ourselves an estimated position. Step 4. What time is it? We need to know the exact time that we take the site to work out exactly where the sun's ground position is at that particular time. The time we need is UTC date and time. Step 5. Taking the site with the sextant. Before you take the site, you need to check your sextant for any errors and then take a note of the site and the UTC time you took it. Step 6. Counting for sextant errors. Now we can start to work it all out. We need to make a couple of adjustments to our reading to account for our height of eye above the water, and to adjust the reading to be for the middle of the sun. Step 7. Where's the sun? We explain our position on the globe in latitude and longitude. The point on the Earth directly below the sun is the ground position, and this is explained in GHA and declination. Some very clever person has worked out exactly where this spot is on the Earth at any given time throughout the year, and put that position into tables. Step 8. Our position in relation to the sun. We now need to work out where we are in relation to the sun, i.e., the angle between our DR location, refer step 3, and the sun's GHA. This is called local hour angle, or LHA. We need to adjust our dead reckoning DR position to an assumed position AP. Basically a position that will give us a nice round number for when we go to use the site reduction tables. Step 9. Azimuth and the site reduction tables. With the information you have gathered so far, your assumed latitude, the LHA, or angle between your position and the sun's ground position, and the declination of the sun, then you can look up the site reduction tables. These tables tell you the azimuth angle or bearing of the sun from your position, and what the computed altitude of the sun should be from that position. Step 10. Plotting your position. Once you have your assumed position and the bearing of the sun from your boat's position, you can draw a line pointing towards the sun. Then you compare the difference between the corrected angle you measured on your sextant with the one from the site reduction tables. The difference in minutes equates to the distance in nautical miles either closer to or further away from the sun you are from your assumed position. Finally, now you can draw your position line. Celestial navigation. Equipment required. There are quite a few bits and bobs required for celestial navigation. 1. A sextant. I've got a plastic Davis sextant, which is probably fine for what I want to use it for, i.e. studying for my exam, a bit of practicing when I'm out at sea, and maybe in an emergency if we lost our GPS. However, plastic sextant are not as reliable as a metal sextant. Rona, one of my viewers, recommends a brand called a Plath. They're more expensive, but will give you a much higher degree of accuracy. 2. A chronometer. A chronometer is essentially a very accurate watch. Watch the previous videos as to why you need to know the UTC day and time, down to the second, for when you take your sextant sight. Thankfully, these days digital watches are very accurate. One expert has a solution to an affordable chronometer. She bought 5 cheap Casio F91W watches and set them all to UTC, then observed them every few days for about a month, and noted which kept time the best. She ended up with one that only loses about a second each week, so as long as she resets it at the beginning of a passage, she knows to just add 1 second each week she is navigating at sea. The rest of the watches are used for watch-keeping alarms. 3. A site reduction worksheet. This is the form you use to plot all your numbers and work out your position. There are lots of different versions on the internet. I've been using this one, which you can download. You can read about how to fill it in step by step in my other celestial navigation videos. 4. Tables. Some tables that you use for working things out do not change, so you can print out one sheet and be done. Others, like the sun, moon, and stars almanac, change from year to year. The altitude correction table is used to make corrections to your sextant. This doesn't change and can be printed and kept in your navigation workbook. The sun almanac. This table tells you the ground position of the sun and stars at any given time of any day. It is published annually. You can either purchase the nautical almanac, or there are a number of websites that publish the tables as well. Site reduction tables. Once you have worked out exactly where the sun or star's ground position is using the almanac, you then use the site reduction tables to calculate what the altitude of the sun should be at your assumed position. There are two kinds of site reduction tables. The site reduction tables for air navigation, Pub 249, comes in 3 volumes covering from 30 degrees north to 30 degrees south, and covers the sun, moon, planets, and some main stars. You can download the volume that relates to the latitudes that you are sailing in. The site reduction tables for marine navigation, Pub 229, comes in 6 volumes, each of which contains 2 8-degree zones of latitude. They cover the entire celestial sphere but are considerably bulkier than Pub 249 and are perceived as being more difficult to use than Pub 249. However, be warned, before you start printing either option, there are lots of pages. Choose the latitude in which you are going to be sailing and just download that part. 5. A scientific calculator. If you are better at math than I am and can figure out how to use your scientific calculator, you can actually use it to work this all out without the use of the tables. Quite how that is done, I am not sure, but if you wanted to go down this track and do some more research, then be sure to let me know how you get on. 6. A plotting sheet. This is the sheet that you're going to plot your course and sights on once you have worked it all out. We will be covering this in a future post. You can download it and read other useful tips on celestial navigation. 7. Other instruments. To assist with plotting your course, and for other chart work, you might like to get a parallel ruler. You will also need some dividers and a drawing compass to use for measuring distances and plotting position lines. 8. Books and websites. There are lots of great resources to learn celestial navigation. I've been learning via the Coast Guard Boating Education Ocean Yachtmaster course. I also have this book, Celestial Navigation, Complete Home Study Course, which has been really good. Some experts recommend Hawaii by Sextant by David Birch and Stephen Miller. This book offers navigation details of a full ocean passage as an excellent way to learn the ropes of practical celestial navigation. So bookmark those websites and print out the worksheets. Let me know if you have got any other great resources in the comments below.